Well, hello, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us today at Lead Follow-Up Secrets for Busy Agents, brought to you today by Cloud Attract and RE Technology. We've got a really exciting program for you, and I think a piece that's going to show everybody where the real secret from sales success comes from. So we're going to go through a really neat program today. Let me first introduce who's on the call. If we could flip over to the today's speakers. I'm Marilyn Wilson, and I'm the co-founder and president of RE Technology, and one of the founding partners of Wave Group, a consulting firm that works with lots of agents and brokers on these kinds of important topics. Then we have Ricardo Bueno, and he is the national trainer for W+R Studios. And then finally, we have Fernandez, who's a realtor and broker associate from TNG Real Estate Consultants, a group that's done some really neat work. So we're going to be showing you more about that in a little bit. So before we get started, just a little housekeeping for you. The webinar is being recorded, and it will be sent to you after the webinar concludes. So if you want to listen to it again, or if you'd like to share it with people on your team, feel free. And if you do have a question, feel free to add them throughout. I may jump in and ask the panelists to answer them for you during or at the end of the session. But feel free to jump in and ask a question. And then if you want to talk about what you just learned about today, you can go to @Cloud Attract or @RE Technology and post information that you learned, which would be great. And then, of course, always stay till the very end, because there's some really interesting offers for those that have spent the time to learn more about this exciting topic. So let's jump over to our next slide, and let me tell you about what are the scope of today. So we talk a lot about leads in our industry, about getting leads, and people spend lots of time and energy considering the best ways to do that. But the truth is, really what matters is speed to lead. And Ricardo and Ray are going to tell you a lot about how you can be successful with that. And also providing information that your sellers really are looking for, right? We all know right now in just about every market across the country, inventory is just ridiculously tight. So what are the ways that you can do things to differentiate yourself and actually convince people it's time to sell and to schedule listing appointments with you? We're also going to talk about how to develop an effective sales follow-up process, right? Again, it's not just about the beginning of the process. We wish that once we got a lead, it would just fall in our pockets and create commission checks, but that's not how it works. So we've got to keep going. And then fourth, and really importantly, what are the must-have pages for every CMA to help you really close those deals and make you the realtor that walks out successful with that listing? So let's jump to the next slide and introduce more about Ray. So Ray is he's a success story in our industry, and he's one of the lucky ones that started back in 2011, and his first year out closed 25 transactions, which is amazing. We say the harder you work, the luckier you get, and I'm sure Ray worked really hard as he does now. And he's been able to grow his team into a team of 4 agents now, and they're going to be doing actually over $40 million this year with just a small group of folks. So they're doing, they're killing it, basically, doing the kinds of things that, every team and every realtor wants to do. So thanks so much for that. And we're going to talk to Ray in a little while. He's going to tell us all about what he's done and what are some of his secrets of success. So I'm going to turn it over now to Ricardo, and he's going to jump in. He's going to tell us all about Cloud Attract and talk to Ray about how he's been able to use it successfully. So Ricardo, take it away.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Marilyn, as always, thank you for having us. And Ray, you as well, thank you for taking the time to be here with us today.
No problem.
So what's fascinating about Ray is, and some of you have been a part of our webinars or maybe attended one of our Cloud Agent Summits earlier this year, and Ray was one of our gracious guests. What's awesome about Ray, and I talk to new real estate agents all the time when we're out demoing or talking about Cloud CMA, but you started in 2011, and your first year you closed 25 transactions. That's not bad.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what it was like when you first started, and the difference or the changes that you're kind of undergoing now, because today you have a team of 4 agents. You're focusing exclusively on listings, and you have your agents work the buyer leads that you guys generate, but you're set to do about 40 million production this year. What are the growth goals kind of now moving forward, but how does that compare to when you first started your first year?
Well, when I first started, I never dreamed of being as successful as I am as quick as I did it. 25 transactions.
Overnight success.
Kind of, yeah. And I attribute that to very good lead follow-up. And I jokingly tell everybody, just you got to always answer your phone. You're at dinner with your family, you answer your phone. And I know there's a fine line there, but that's kind of what today's consumer wants. They want somebody that's available, and that's how I did the 25 transactions my first year. It was a tough year. It was it was 25 buy sides that year, so that's even tougher when we're driving these buyers around, showing them all the houses, and we would be competing against 5 or 6, sometimes 10 offers on all these properties, and it was just about getting along with the other realtor, and those leads. Every one of those leads came from, at the time, Zillow, and so I know a lot of people don't like talking about Zillow and the leads and stuff because they don't think they're good, but they're as good as you make them and as good as you can follow up with them.
When did you start to transition from buy side to focusing on listings or exclusively on listings?
Probably after around 2013 or so, because when you do 25 transactions, obviously you're making a good chunk of money, and that's kind of what you need to really start transitioning to listings, because now you have to start mailing, and your whole marketing campaign has to make a major shift to go after sellers. Buyers is easy. You find online websites, Zillow and Cloud Attract, and all these different areas where you can pull in these buyer leads. And so it just about 2 years after I'd gotten my license is when I was able to start focusing on sellers.
There's obviously a marketing budget involved in putting systems in place, making sure you have, everything to set up to be able to manage it and market it.
Absolutely.
And your team now, so they focus exclusively on the buyer leads that you guys generate, or how do you guys work?
Well, so my team is, I don't know if it's different. I think everybody that grows a team struggles with how does that work and how does it look. And so I'm still kind of struggling with how this all works out. And I opened up my own office in La Habra about 5 months ago. And so there's been a lot of growing pains for sure. A lot of agents that want to join my team, but my office is about 800 square feet. So I don't really have room for other agents, and I don't even know how I would really facilitate that at this point. Right now, I'm just focused on me and my sales, and then my 4 teammates that are here with me, and we all get our own listings as well. So they get their own listings too, but they're mainly here to help me. I've got about 20 active listings right now and 10 in escrow, and I've closed about 40 year to date. So that's a lot for me to handle on my own. So my team is kind of hired to help me show a property, do open houses, do anything, be there for home inspections, meet an appraiser, the kind of stuff that I really wish I could do, but with as much stuff as I have going on, I just don't have time. So they're here to help me with that stuff. And then the bonus to them is when I have a seller that wants to also buy a property, that's being given to one of them. They go help that buyer. And awesome. Any buyer leads I generate through Cloud Attract or through my Cloud CMAs, buyer leads, even if it's $1 million, $2 million, I'm giving it to them to deal with.
So a lot of people on the webinar obviously want to know, well, heck, Ray, how did you get 20 active listings and you're closing on 10 of them are closing escrow? So let's talk about your sort of technology and what you're doing today to generate leads. You obviously have a really great well-done website that people can come and search, that they can really engage with. So it's a virtual results website. You've done a lot of pay-per-click marketing, so you're spending budget on pay-per-click and Facebook ads. But you're also very old school. You do a lot of direct mail, and you prefer the face-to-face. And then you obviously take every opportunity to create a CMA report. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But tell me about your process. Where is it that all of these leads are coming from, and what tools are you using in your business, whether it's you or your team?
Well, so when I first started in real estate, one of the main things that I remember, one of my first brokers, I started at Tarbell Realtors, and I remember him telling me that I think most agents get involved and they just want to be a realtor. They want to sell a few houses and make a living. That obviously was never my intention. My intention was to come out and kill it. And so I'm always reading self-help books. My wife makes fun of me because of that. And I'm always just doing whatever I can to educate myself and make myself better. And so my first broker, he actually said something that has always stuck with me. And he said, if you want to be the top agent in your area, you have to make sure that anytime somebody mentions real estate and out at the supermarket or they're out in public and the real estate comes up, that your name should be associated with real estate in whatever area. So two people are having a casual conversation at Albertsons and one says, oh, I need to sell my house. Hopefully one of them says, are you going to call Ray? He's the guy in La Habra that I see everywhere. So my intention from day one was to just saturate La Habra with mailers and pay-per-click ads and whatever I could do to just be in front of people in this market. And so that started with direct mail at the time, and then a lot of different websites where you can pay for internet ads for specific zip codes, people that live in those zip codes.
You bought advertisements just about everywhere and anywhere.
Yeah, any magazine, you know, we get the phone calls from lots of solicitors. Somebody from a magazine calls me. Most agents are hanging up and annoyed. I would sit on the phone and I'd say, what do you got? How much is it? And that first year of 25 sales on Zillow, I made a couple $100,000. And that, I don't want to say all of it, but a big chunk of that went into marketing for year 2 and 3 of my real estate career. And that's probably the biggest secret right there, how I propelled to where I got so fast, by just a big chunk of money in the marketing in my area.
Did you do the shopping cart ads and the bus benches?
I've actually, you and I have joked about this. Shopping carts are one that I will not do again. That one I didn't like, and sometimes you have to just do it and figure out if it's something you like. Actually, right now at the Albertsons, right across the street from my office, I'm on the register receipts. So I'm on the back of the receipt. It's not cheap, but if you really think about it, we leave those receipts all over our house constantly. And so it's just a little reminder for everybody that already sees my stuff when they're at home. And I'll run into friends. I went to school in La Habra, grew up here, and I'll run into friends that I haven't seen in 20 years, and they will almost always tell me, I am sick of seeing your face, Ray. And that's what it comes down to. I haven't seen them in 20 years, but you know, if they need to sell their house, you know they're going to call me, unless their brother's a realtor or something.
Now, tell me about this tagline, always $1 million service. Was it high-end listings that you always focused on? Will you list any property?
Yeah, so I'll list anything. I pigeonholed myself at the beginning of my real estate career. I guess it was a good thing, but I attribute it to this one picture, my first headshot. For some reason, it was black and white, and I looked like I was maybe in my 50s, and I'm 36 years old. So this picture made me look like I was in my 50s, and at the time, I'd gotten a billboard in La Habra, and so nobody would recognize me as I walked around the stores and stuff. And I started getting listing appointments in La Habra Heights that are $1 million properties, anywhere from $800 to $3 million. I would get these listing appointments, and I'd show up, and they'd answer their door, and they'd look at me like, "Can I help you?" And I'd say, "Well, I'm Ray. I'm here for our appointment." And they'd be shocked. They'd go, "Are you Ray's dad?" They just couldn't figure out that I was the guy on the billboard, because that picture made me look so old. So I look back and go, you know, that's probably the smartest thing I ever did, not knowing that's what I was doing, because I all of a sudden started getting all these $1 million listings. So after about a year or two of a handful of $1 million listings, a lot of my friends would say, "Oh, who can you recommend to sell my house? I'm in La Habra, it's only $500. I'd say, I'll do that for you. And they'd always just say, "Well, why would you want to deal with our house when you've got all these $1 million houses?" So I had to kind of rebrand a little bit and do this always $1 million service, because I want them all. I want a $250,000 condo. I want a $600,000 house, and then I have a $4.8 million listing in Chino Hills right now. So I want to be able to handle them all, and it's kind of neat to tell my sellers that my photographer that did the pictures for my $4.8 million house, he's going to take pictures at your $600,000 house. And so that's how my Always $1 Million service got started.
That's kind of a good problem to have, Ray, pigeonholing yourself into the $1 million listing market.
Absolutely.
So one of the things that I love that you do in your marketing, so let's talk lead gen strategy a little bit. One of the things that I love is I look at some of the print marketing that you do. You have this kind of like 3-part lead gen strategy, and it's very effective. So, you know, you talked about it before, but when you host an open house, you like to go door to door and get face to face with some of the neighbors and invite them to the open house. Yeah. You follow up with these postcards, and I forget if you do them before and after the listing has closed, but you know, on one side of the flyer, it's the open house details or the just sold details, and on the other side, it's a blatant advertisement, but a very effective advertisement. Want to know what your home is worth? Get your instant home value now. Visit rayshomevalues.com. And then the third part is you're following up with Facebook ads. So the beauty of Facebook is that we can get very specific with who we're targeting. So, you know, I can say, show this ad to men and women ages 26 to 65 years old that currently own their home and they're considering making a move, that live within a 10-mile radius of this zip code. And it being the zip code that I'm farming and door knocking and doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
For you, what is, I mean, is there anything else that I'm missing here? What else is a part of that strategy?
No, that's pretty much it. And actually, all the realtors listening to this, we should all know this is what we were taught to do from the beginning. As long as we were taught correctly, you get a new listing, and the first thing you should do is door knock that neighborhood and introduce yourself. And I am not salesy by any means, so I don't knock on their door and use the scripts of, hi, I'm Ray, do you have anybody wanting to buy or sell in the neighborhood? I just want to connect with each neighbor. And so when I knock on doors, I just say, hi, my name is Ray. I've got a listing in your neighborhood, and I just wanted to invite you to my open house on Sunday. And from enough branding and people knowing me, it's not necessarily like I don't know how to say, it's not a cold call. It's the people usually recognize who I am, and most of the time invite me into their house. And so it's been pretty cool. Even a couple weeks ago, we did exactly this, and I had 2 of my agents. We wanted to knock out about 200 houses in a couple hours, and I had 2 of my agents walk in one direction, and I went in the opposite, and they did like 50 houses each, and I did like 8, because everybody that I knocked on their door, they wanted to talk. And so that's good. That's obviously a good thing, but I can't get to all the houses I want to. So they were able to just knock on doors, say Ray's inviting you to an open house, and give them the flyer and walk away. But I kind of get sucked into houses and what do you think I should do with my kitchen? And we're thinking of selling in a couple of years, and we'll call you. And so I get a lot of that, which is obviously a good thing. And then, so that's like the first start. And then anytime I get a new listing, I will do a just listed postcard to 250 houses around that property. When it hits escrow, we change that same postcard to just say in escrow. And then when it sells, we do just sold postcard. So it's now everyone's seen my open house or my listing sitting there. We've hopefully knocked on everybody's door and at least talked to the neighbors. And now they're getting 3 postcards about that property that I just sold within a 90-day period or so. So it's just more and more and more branding, and that's what's been effective.
So let's talk lead follow-up for a little bit. Everyone here is probably spending money advertising in a lot of different ways, whether we're doing the traditional stuff and like the direct mail, or whether we're spending money by advertising on the major portals, pay-per-click, Facebook ads, you name it. We have an expensive website that we pay, for hosting, or that we're paying money to a vendor to. Our business costs money. And what's tough about real estate is, we're entrepreneurs, we're self-employed. So We got to close deals to keep the money coming in and keep paying off these expenses. So it seems to me that without an effective lead follow-up strategy, you know, we're spending money to generate these leads. Without an effective follow-up strategy, it's money out the window if we're not effectively converting and, you know, being accessible and giving them the information that they want or that they need. Like you said, your first year, that's a busy first year when all of your sides are buy sides, because, you know, they take a little more hand-holding care and attention. And yeah, we have to be on 24/7. So, you know, one of the most important things, and MIT did a research study, and they found that your chances of success or converting an online lead increase dramatically if you respond within that first minute. So your chances of conversion are about 400% if you respond within a minute or less. The longer and longer you wait, the less and less drastically your chances of conversion are. So I've had agents that'll spend, you know, $1,000 a month on Zillow leads, and they're getting leads, but then they wonder why they're not closing. They're not closing because they're not following up on the leads till, you know, 3 or 4 days later. And we have to recognize that with these consumers, they want information now. If they're not getting it from you, they're going somewhere else to get it from another source. So speed to call definitely matters. And I think, Ray, between you and your team, you guys do a pretty effective job of that. The other thing that matters is, you know, if it's a buyer, that we're sending them listing alerts instantly. If it's a seller, are we sending them the information that they want? That they request a CMA, and am I delivering that information to them quickly and effectively? But the other important thing that they found during this research study is that 6 calls equals success. And this number may be different for Marilyn. You work with a lot of brokers, and Ray, just you tell me on your experience, but 93%, they found in the study that 93% of the converted leads are contacted by the 6th call attempt. So many times I find that agents, even when I was consulting and working with agents, I find that a lot of agents give up after the 1st or 2nd call attempt. Maybe it's discouragement, maybe it's some type of fear, but, you know, we don't follow up past the 2nd call attempt because we feel like, oh, well, that lead isn't ready, or that lead is no good, or, you know, I couldn't get a hold of them, so I'm just going to move on to the next one. And really, our chances of success are maximized on that 6th, 7th, or 8th follow-up attempt. So, Ray, how do you guys incorporate this into your business?
What I tell my team is, obviously, if somebody reaches out to us at some point, there's somebody that's interested in real estate. So we need to keep following up with them until we hear. I've actually told my team to be ruthless until the buyer or whoever it is tells us to stop, like until we piss them off, essentially, because who cares? If we're trying and they're not answering, sometimes obviously on our end we feel like they're being rude. We think, oh, what the hell? They reached out to us and they want information, and then when we try to call them back, they don't answer. But it is about being, you got to remember that word, ruthless. Be ruthless with following up until they tell you to stop. And because what do you have to lose? You have nothing to lose.
Marilyn, you had something to add?
Yeah, I was going to say that the numbers that you're sharing, the 6 or 7, is about right. And I think any salesperson can relate to the fact that calling someone 6 or 7 times seems difficult. But you're right, Ray. I mean, what do you have to lose? If nothing else, the customer will appreciate your tenacity and your level of focus and attention on them. And as long as it's not, you know, over the top and in any way getting it, as you know, the call escalates in terms of being rude or anything, which obviously it wouldn't. It's great. Like, just keep calling, because it shows that you care about them. It shows that you're interested in them, and it shows that you really are serious about your business. And that's the thing that we do a lot of research with consumers. We find out that the single biggest concern or complaint they have about agents is they're not responsive. And so by doing something like this, even if at this moment they're not ready, they can never accuse you of not being responsive, which is really important.
Agreed.
So for those of us that are investing money on generating, you know, a lot of us want to generate seller leads. So what are we providing of value to those sellers once we've generated those leads? Ray, what's your follow-up process look like? You're obviously focused on generating more listings. You have a lot of listings now, but what's your follow-up process when you're generating these leads and you're getting a listing inquiry? If we're a new agent, it can be overwhelming. It's like, it's that excitement, but it's that, oh crap, what do I do now?
Yeah.
So what does that process look like for you?
Well, so anytime I get a seller lead, my biggest goal is obviously to get into their house. And so I'm trying to make an appointment. If it just feels like it's something that they're not ready, but maybe just want some information, that's when I use Cloud CMA. And I think you guys have told me I'm one of the top users as far as most reports created across your platform, which is kind of cool. But I just go in and I've got my template set up in such a way that it'll literally take a few minutes, 2 or 3 minutes, to put together a CMA. And my focus is to just make it pretty and lots of pictures, and like a big picture book. We don't like reading, but we like just looking at pretty pictures. And so it's a nice 10 to 15 page report is what I try to stick to, and I email that over to them. And obviously, if I get the appointment to come and talk to them about listing their house, that's all I take with me. I take the Cloud CMA and some examples of my marketing, and I can usually whip up a listing presentation in 5 minutes and be out the door to go meet with somebody if that's how quick I need to do it.
That's awesome. So let's talk about that for a second, because I know that's an integral part of it. You know, there's 3 things we're trying to accomplish whenever we're creating a CMA report for a listing presentation, but we're trying to make a damn good first impression. We're trying to come up with a fair suggested list price, and we want to walk out of that appointment with a signed listing contract. So here's an example of one of your CMA reports. Can you just kind of walk us through the thought process and what you include in most of your reports?
Sure. So obviously a custom report, I've got my team logo on the front of it. I'll usually have about 10 properties that I try to use as comps. So that second page there shows a few of the comps. I do 2 per page, so you get 2 pictures and just some brief statistics about each property. We don't need to go into huge detail on each one. The third page, I love this one, the online valuation analysis. I'm sure we've all dealt with it. You go into a listing appointment and you tell them their house is worth $800, and they swear that no, it's worth $1 million because that's what Zillow says. And actually, Ricardo, you introduced this page to me. You guys have probably had it for a long time. About 6 months ago, you showed it to me, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. So now it's added into every one of my reports, and it shows all the active listings. Actually, the first one's the close. That top section is all the closed sales, and it shows what it sold for and what the estimate was at the time. And then it shows how off it was. And then the second one is in escrow, and then the third one, the bottom one where there's 3, that is the active listings. And it's kind of hard to see, but I'm looking at it, and you can see where they've got it listed for $1,549,000, but the estimate says 1.3. So that one's kind of off. They're all off, and this is just a great way to show. I use this page to tell all my sellers how much Zillow sucks, and they shouldn't use it. That's essentially what I use this page for.
Hey Ray, we have a question from the audience about your
sure.
about your CMA. So I think you're kind of walking us through this, and if you're willing, maybe it'd be nice we could include a link in the thank you page or with the recording to show an actual example of one, because you do a fabulous job with it. But they asked,
sure.
What pages do you include? Which you're walking us 15 pages. How many comps? I think you said 10. And then only solds, or do you do some actives as well?
No, I do actives. You have to do actives, because once you go through your solds first, that's what comes up on the report first, and then you go through a couple that might be in escrow, and then once you get to this point in your listing presentation, you say, okay, so now let's look at your competition, because they need to know if we're going to list their house for $1 million, what else is on the market around this price point. So this is when I can usually get somebody, if they think it's worth $1 million, but I'm telling them 800. Now I say, well, your neighbor is listed for $830. This other property is listed for $795, and it's the competition. So it makes it easy to tell the seller, these buyers are going to be looking at those two houses and looking at your house. And if you want to list for $1 million, you're just going to help the other houses sell, is all you're really going to do. And it's just a good way to show them that they are unrealistic with what they're asking for when we've got a bunch of active listings that are pretty comparable to their property.
Do you ever tell them about I mean, obviously you're showing them the inaccuracy of Zillow, so that's pretty obvious. There's a page on Zillow that shows, you know, on average, you know, that we're within 35% of accuracy in a particular market. Do you ever pull that page up, or do you know the one I'm talking about? Have you ever seen that?
I have seen it, and I wish if you can find that, I'd love to see it again, because I don't remember where I saw that. But I've used, I think Inman or somebody did an article on Zillow, and they actually said that they are the most inaccurate in the rural areas of Southern California, and that's exactly what La Habra Heights is. So I use that all the time when people say, well, Zillow says I'm worth $1 million, and you're telling me 800. And then I just tell them, you know, there was an article a couple of years back that it was, I think it was even from Zillow, stats from them, saying that they understand that they are not always the most accurate, but they're the most inaccurate in the rural areas of Southern California. So that makes it easy for me to shut them down a little bit when buyers start talking about their estimate, or when sellers do.
Got that page, and I'll put that in the, thank you for everybody on the call too, so you can see it. But it's pretty shocking how off it really is. So the number, you know, obviously you can do it this way, which is the easiest way, but you can also, if someone is really into the data and you can't get them off of the Zillow's right, you can pull up that page and say, well, here's the truth is they're only, you know, they're 85% accurate 27% of the time, or whatever it is. Like, so it's not, it's not close. But anyway, okay.
And actually, if you look closely at the online valuation one that's on the board, the actives up on top, the differences are all in the positive. And then when you look at the closed sales, the closed sales are on top, and those are all in the positive, showing that these guys, they were asking $966, and the Zestimate was $1 million. So it sold under the Zestimate by 5%. And then you go to the active listings down below, and you can see just the big difference. That one form shows it so well how off it really is. So that's a good one to include in the report for sure.
Well, while I'm jumped in here, let me ask you one more question, and I'll turn it back over to you, Ricardo. And this is a really important question to help every person who manages agents on the call. They said, how do you keep your agents from complaining when they get no responses from the leads? In other words, how do you get them to go all the way to 6 before they get a positive answer?
Well, if I had agents that were complaining like that, I'd get rid of them, and I'd find somebody else that's not going to be a complainer and just do it.
There you go. That's a good answer.
Yeah.
I like it.
So I don't want complainers. I don't want negative. I'm a very positive person, and I've never really dealt with that. They all just know, keep calling, keep working them until something happens. What else do you have going on if you're not following up with these leads?
It sounds harsh, but it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is. And another one came in about when you were talking about door knocking, which was, I'm sorry, I just lost it. Hold on one sec. When you're door knocking, you know, how do you take notes? How do you get names? How do you know who to follow up with? Like, what's your process when you're actually out there talking to people?
So usually I'll have like a notepad with me, and then as I leave the property, you just make a quick note and say 123 Main Street. This guy was very friendly. I'm really bad with names, so a lot of the time, obviously, I meet them, they tell me their name, and by the time I'm leaving, I don't remember it, and I don't want to ask them again. But that's easy for us. We look up title, and so I'll make notes on a property and say, okay, I talked to this guy for 10 minutes. He showed me his house. He had a nice kitchen, and then that's the extra step that I used to do, but I just don't have time lately anymore, is to send a follow-up thank you card saying it was really nice to meet you. You have a beautiful kitchen. Thanks for inviting me into your home. If you ever need anything, feel free to call anytime. Here's my cell phone number. So that's an extra step that I used to do, but unfortunately, there's things that I run out of time for. But now I've got office staff that I've hired. I have 2 employees that work for me, and they are more admin, so that's one of the things I'm going to start trying to get them to do for me, is write these cards and stuff. So it's just taking notes, having a notepad with you and taking quick little notes when you leave so you remember when you get back to the office.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then I think, so we're on to that fourth page. My fourth page on there, property marketing done right. That is, I used to have this on 3 or 4 pages, where one page was photographs, one page was videos. And then I figured, why, let's just cut it down so when I get to this one page, I can briefly talk about my marketing. If I'm meeting with somebody in La Habra or La Habra Heights, they already get enough of my mail to know everything I do, but I still like to go to this page and show them. So I've recently bought my own Matterport camera that does the 3D home models, and I bought that last year at the CAR show, and that was $4,000. Obviously very expensive, but now I can tell that when we go back to that always $1 million service, I do 3D tours on $200,000 condos. So any listing I get is going to get a 3D tour. It's going to get professional pictures. I used to hire stagers, and now what I do, all my staging is in-house. I just found it cheaper to buy my own furniture, and I've got a moving truck, and my team and I will spend a couple hours and we'll stage a house ourselves. And I've got a public storage spot that's a pretty big one, a 24 by 24, just full of staging furniture. And so we stage houses ourselves, we take videos, we do property websites, we do everything in our power to try to make this house look as pretty as we can online. And that's what I push to my sellers. You know, buyers nowadays, they find their properties online, and if we don't look good online, they're not going to come look at us. So that one page is my area to brag about everything I do.
To differentiate yourself from what everyone else is offering or doing.
Yeah, but it doesn't take too long, and I've already learned my market. It doesn't take long before competitors see this and just start copying. So I just saw a mail piece from one of my big competitors that now that person is doing 3D tours too, and it's being pushed on all their marketing. And so now I need to always be a step ahead. That's the way I think. So I need to figure out what my next move will be to be a step ahead. And one of them that I just did actually, which was kind of cool, and I've got lots of realtors calling me and asking me where I got them, is we all have our for sale signs out in front of the house, and we all order them from the same guy that goes out and puts the 4x4 posts that looks like a cross, and they hang the signs off of it. I had a wrought iron guy, a metal guy that I've worked with in the past. He made me custom bright orange. They're tubes, so they're like a 2-inch tube, and they're arched at the top, and they have stakes on them, and we put them into the ground, and they're powder coated orange. And so I'm always just trying to figure out how to stand out. So now my for sale signs that are out in front of houses are bright orange poles, and they look really cool. And I've had a lot of agents already calling me, asking me where I got them. And that's one that I'm just telling them, not telling you where I got them because I don't want you copying me. So,
nice.
And then that last team is just my team page. I want to make sure all my sellers know that I'm a team and that it's not always going to be me at their house for open houses or for a home inspection. I need to I've learned now that I need to set the expectation right up front, that they know that I've got a team helping me, and I'm busy. I'm not too busy for their business, obviously, but I need help. And so I've got these people there to help me when things come up.
Awesome. So for those of you that are on the webinar, if you want more info on Cloud CMA, just type in Cloud CMA into the GoToWebinar chat. For those of you that don't already have an account, Cloud CMA is available in a lot of markets or in some markets as a site license, meaning you get it as a member benefit. So if you're a part of CRMLS, for example, you get Cloud CMA for free. If you don't get Cloud CMA for free, you're in a direct territory, then like I said, go ahead and just type Cloud CMA into the GoToWebinar chat, and we'll send you some more information, or we'll give you some more information. Ray, let's talk for a second about maximizing your budget. Early on, you did a lot and you advertised all over the place. You had used the phrase once, so excuse me for throwing it out, but you said you puked all over your market. You were trying to get your brand everywhere and anywhere. So obviously, knowing what you know now, and you have a lot of active listings, how do you get the most for your advertising dollar? If you were just getting started today, knowing what you know now, what would you do different?
It would probably be a mail campaign. I think mail has probably been my biggest success as far as where money goes and what gets me the most calls. But it's being persistent with it. You can't send out one mail piece and then 3 months later send out another mail piece. It will not work, and that would be a waste of money. I send out 7,000 mail pieces every 2 weeks, and so my farm of 7,000 houses, every 2 weeks they're getting a flyer from me. Sure, it annoys some people, and actually seems like it's kind of gotten worse in the last couple of weeks, where a mail piece goes out and I get an angry phone call from some grouchy old lady that says, "I'm tired of your mail in my mailbox, take me off your list." And so we say, okay, and we take her address down and we remove her. So that obviously is going to start happening when you start doing that much mail. But the mail is the biggest way to just start branding yourself and keeping in front of people. And if you really think about top producers in any of your markets, I bet you, if you really thought about it, all of them mail constantly. I can't think of a top producing agent that is consistent and always has listings, always has things going, that doesn't mail. So I'd say mail is the top, and then second is online and online advertising and doing what's your home worth ads. That's a big one that people just scroll through the internet and they see a little ad that says, "What's your home worth?" Find out in a few seconds, and that's when you start getting those seller leads. And it's like any other lead. Some are going to be good, some are going to be bad. Some you'll follow up with and finally get a hold of, and they say, "Oh, we've just been thinking about refinancing and we just wanted to know our value." But at least it's somebody that you get to make a contact with and talk to, and who knows, maybe that guy, his neighbor wants to sell his house, and he said, "Oh, I had a very pleasant conversation with Ray Fernandez a few days ago. You should call him." So it's more contacts you're making with people in your area.
Ray, we have a question from the audience about that. They want to know what you're mailing, and they want to know where online that you're doing your "What's Your Home Worth" ads.
So my mail is, I try to stay one side. It's a big 9x12 postcard. So it's a big postcard, and I try to, one side of it is more community oriented. So this year, and I think it's really helped my business, every closed transaction, every closed side, so if I double end something, it's double, I'm donating $500 to local charities. And so one side of my flyer is always pushing that the Ray Fernandez team is donating $500 of each closed transaction back to a local charity. So I'm giving money to La Habra Boys and Girls Club, La Habra High School, the Women's Shelter. I just cut a check actually this week for $1,000. They're going to give 200 coats to local school children in La Habra that can't afford a coat, I guess. So it's giving that money back. So one side of the flyer is charity stuff. I have bright orange grocery bags that I have at my office, and I give those out for free. So we've got a hook out front of the office where people can just walk up and grab them, and then we also put that in the flyers. Come into the office for your free bright orange grocery bags. And with my bright orange, that's been pretty cool with branding, because you go into the supermarket and you will almost always see a couple people walking around with my bright orange bags. In the last year, I've probably given out about 10 to 12,000 bags through music in the park and different community activities. So that's a big one as far as my branding is concerned. And then the other side of the flyer is I use properties that I've got for sale to do just listed and just sold on that, so everyone knows and sees the activity. And then that's also a selling point when I go into listing appointments, that you're going to be on my flyer that gets mailed out 7,000 people a couple times a month. So you'll get some activity from that, because it's pretty easy for me to say what other local realtor will you get that kind of exposure on as far as mailers and being sent to people's houses. And then what was the other question? Oh, the online.
Actually two parts. You've got another one came in while you were talking. Where do you advertise online? What's your home worth? And are you still using Zillow as a lead gen source?
I've really cut back on Zillow because they just suck. Obviously, anybody that's listening can tell I hate Zillow. I think they've taken all our information. I don't like that. With my 20 active listings, I have to pay them a couple $100 a month to be exclusive on my listings. If I'm not paying them that money, then other realtors show up as a contact for my listing. So I feel like I'm being blackmailed a little bit in that sense. So I've cut way back on my Zillow to just pretty much paying them that so that I can feature my own listings, and then a couple $100 on leads so that I at least get some stuff from Zillow for my teams. And then online ads, there's different, I use AdWorks is the name of the company that I use to, they place ads for me in different, on different websites. It's just, I don't even know how it works, to be honest, but I'll just have random friends send me screenshots that there's a pop-up ad showing up on the side of their Amazon, or they're on Fox News, or they're on MSN, whatever it might be, and it'll show my ad on the right side. And it's just what's your home worth? And I think Ricardo is probably going to talk a little bit more about that, because this is who I use, is the Cloud Attract. And so that's what I use for online.
Awesome. So let's talk about obviously generating the leads. I think Ray said a second ago, but the most effective call to action in real estate today is what's my home worth? Every homeowner out there today, whether they're thinking of selling now or later, they're curious as to what their home is worth. So for me, the most effective call to action in real estate today, and I think you guys would agree, is what's my home worth, right? So becoming a dominant listing agent in your market is going to start with a lot of seller leads. So how do we get them? You're obviously spending money on a lot of different things. You're, marketing at your open houses. You're doing direct mail and postcard campaigns. A lot of these things cost money, right? We're door knocking. We're investing in our websites. We're investing in ads. We're advertising on the portals. So we created Cloud Attract to help you market to both buyers and sellers. You'll be able to design your own landing pages, but the beauty of how we designed this product is we designed it so that you can create landing pages for both buyers and sellers, but also we're giving you stats and analytics as to how those pages are performing, so that you know which of your marketing campaigns is being the most effective. So what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to start with one of our templates, and we have a lot of lifestyle templates. Buying and selling is an emotional process. So we've created some of these designs around major life events. Whether you just had a baby, so you're looking to buy a new home and grow into a bigger space, or you just got married, so you're looking for a starter home. So a lot of these have sort of lifestyle designs, but again, you'll be able to start with one of our templates and or customize that template and make it your own. We talked about speed to lead. So with Cloud Attract, when a lead registers on your landing page, we're going to follow up within 30 seconds of them registering. If it's a buyer, we'll immediately send them listing alerts, and you'll get an instant lead notification email. If it's a seller, we'll deliver a CMA report and a home value range. We'll deliver that instantly to give you the opportunity to then follow up and schedule that listing appointment. And we talked about what pages you want to include in that CMA report, but when you're designing your landing pages, we essentially ask you, okay, well, what do you want to deliver to the seller? By default, we'll select Cloud CMA. And if you want to include the home value range, you can do that. If you want to preview the CMA before it goes out, you can do that. Or you can deliver just the home value range so that you can follow up with your own custom CMA. But there's a lot of flexibility as to what gets delivered. Either way, the peace of mind you should have is that we're following up again within 30 seconds. So we are doing that instant follow-up. Creating the landing pages is also super simple. So when you log into your dashboard, we simply ask you, okay, well, what kind of leads do you want to attract? Do you want to build a campaign for sellers? Do you want to build a campaign for buyers? And then we walk you through a quick setup process, and I'll demo what that looks like in a second. So here's an example of some of our landing pages. They're all mobile responsive, and I can customize everything about it. So here I'm saying, what's my Huntington Beach townhome worth? Your contact information always appears on the upper left and right-hand sides. Here's another example of a seller landing page. You can start with one of our templates or customize it and make it your own. So you can always update or change your photo and contact information. You can upload your own background photo. You can edit the text that appears above and below that the contact form. And then the beauty is we're also, we enabled a new feature where we're capturing partial leads. So if somebody goes in here and types in an address, but for whatever reason bounces and doesn't give us their name, email, and phone number, we're still going to give you a new lead notification email on the address so that you can print and bind and leave that CMA report or mail that CMA report to that homeowner that went and typed in the address. So we are doing partial leads in addition to sending you the full lead information for those that complete it. So some agents have gotten really creative. Here's an example of Melinda Johnson, who created a buyer landing page, but you know, who can fetch new listings? You can. So here a consumer types in their email address, and then we ask him, great, what's your name, email and phone number, or what's your name and number, and what type of property are you looking for? From there, Cloud Attract will deliver listing alerts to that buyer. And again, here's another agent, Sean Carter, who went ahead and uploaded his own background photo for one of his listings. So when a consumer does enter their information, it'll say your report is on its way, and then pay close attention to the next slide. Here's what we deliver to the actual seller. So the email would say, hey, Ricardo, thanks for inquiring about a home at the following address. Here's the CMA report. And here's the home value range. Now look at that range. That range is really broad, but we keep it broad on purpose. So at the beginning, or when Ray was going through his CMA report, every homeowner out there today has a preconceived notion of what their home is worth. And where are they getting it from? They're getting it from Zillow. So we keep the range broad, and we keep it broad on purpose because we have the data to make it more specific. We have the data to make it more narrow or make it an exact value. But if that range that we give them falls below what this estimate says their home is worth, do you really think you're going to get the listing appointment? Absolutely not. So we keep the range broad, but we keep it broad on purpose so that you do have the opportunity to do that. So let me walk you through just briefly what creating a new landing page is like. So you'll log into your Cloud Attract account. What kind of leads do you want to attract? Well, I'm creating a Facebook ad, so let's do a seller lead. Here are the templates that we've created for you, or you can design your own. So here I'm going to say Facebook ad for Huntington Beach. Click continue. I want to capture their name, and I want to know when they're looking to sell. So I'll click next. By default, we check Cloud CMA, so I want to include a home value range with the CMA report, but I also want to review the CMA before it goes out to that seller lead. So I click next. It takes me to my page builder. So here I'll want to go in and select a photo. Now let me see which photo can I use. Let's do this. I always forget where I'm traveling. So let's do Miami. Open. So what's my Huntington Beach home worth, or what's my luxury home worth? I want to brighten this up so that the text pops a little bit more. And I want to change my accent color to blue. So you can edit the text that appears above and the text that appears below. So a lot of agents here will do a disclaimer. If you're currently working with another agent, this is not a solicitation. I can preview what it looks like on desktop. So here's what it looks like on desktop. I can preview what it looks like on mobile. Here's what it looks like on my mobile device. So everything is legible and the form is easy to fill out. So to publish this, I just click on save, and that's it. My new landing page is published and ready to go. So here's my new landing page. and this is the page that I'm going to advertise on my Facebook ad. So if we're doing that 3-part strategy that I talked about with Ray, where he's door knocking, but he's also sending these mailers out. When you purchase your domain, so if I purchase ricardoshomevalues.com, this is the URL that I'm redirecting it to. When I run my Facebook ad, go ahead.
You might want to show, because I think a lot of people see that link and don't know, well, what the heck do we do with that? That link, you just copy it and paste it right into Facebook, and then Facebook will, maybe you can show that, because I don't think a lot of people kind of don't know what to do with it after that.
So here's an example of a Facebook ad that you would publish. You would say, did you know that Huntington Beach home values are up 14% over the last 12 months? It's true. The value of your home may surprise you. Click here to find out what your home might be worth now for free. And when they click there, it goes to your Cloud Attract Now landing page. Now, we've made it really simple for you to share these links. So when your page is published, if you just click on Facebook here, it'll automatically launch Facebook into a new post for you, and we create that thumbnail image for your post. So literally all you're going to do is type in your ad copy here. So you're going to say, did you know Huntington Beach home values are up 14% over the last 12 months, yada, yada, yada. But we auto-populate that post, that image, and that link in there. So that when you share this to your timeline or when you share it on your Facebook page, all the user has to do is click on the image or click on the actual post itself. The other thing that you would do if you were opening up Facebook and you didn't click on the link here is you would just type in your ad copy, and then you would say, click here, and then you would share that URL like so. So you would just copy and paste the URL. Facebook will take care of uploading the actual thumbnail image of your new landing page. So we make that part really, really simple. And Facebook ads are going to be your most effective form of advertising. They're very cost effective and they generate results for you. So here, for example, is an agent who was spending, she was targeting Eastvale, but wasn't getting a lot of results. So she was targeting the 92880. She was spending $5 a day. And here's all the demographic info that she added for the people that she was targeting. I gave her some suggestions for changes that she should make to her ad. And within 24 hours, it's, good morning. Okay, so I received 7 new leads since I changed it up with your recommendations. So Facebook ads definitely work. They're your most effective form of advertising. But let me tell you what we have for you guys at Cloud Attract today, and then we have some onboarding webinars for you that'll walk you through the landing page creation process, and that'll spend a 1-hour deep dive into Facebook marketing. So for those of you that are on the webinar today, we have a 30-day free trial on all of your brand new Cloud Attract accounts. So in addition to the 30-day free trial, we do have our Cloud Attract 101 webinar. So that webinar will walk you in a lot more detail how to create targeted landing pages for both buyers and sellers. It's about 30 minutes with time for Q&A. The other webinar, and this one I highly recommend, if anything, do the 30-day trial so that you can join us for this webinar here. It's our Facebook Marketing Best Practices webinar. So this webinar is anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. What we do is we walk you through step-by-step how to market your landing pages on Facebook. So whether you want to just promote it on your business page and create and boost a post, or whether you're trying to create targeted ads for both buyers and sellers, we show you how to create your own custom audience, and then we walk you through what sort of recommended budget we recommend you start with. That way you're maximizing your return on investment. So these are exclusive webinars to Cloud Attract. Your promo code is going to be on the next page, but here it is again. The pricing for Cloud Attract is regularly $149.95 per month and $14.99 per year. So if you do the 30-day trial, 10 days before that trial expires, you get a reminder email. Hey, Ricardo, your Cloud Attract account is going to renew or charge in the next 10 days. If you want to cancel, you can cancel, no problem. I recommend you do the onboarding webinars, especially that Facebook webinar regardless. And if you want to keep your Cloud Attract account beyond the 30-day trial, we'll grandfather you into the following prices. So instead of $149 per month, we'll do $99.95 per month. Instead of $1,500 per year, we'll do $999 per year. So you get $200 off by purchasing for the year up front. Your promo code is going to be Bueno17. So we'll be sure to copy and paste that link into the GoToWebinar chat. But again, it's
actually I just did. So everybody's got it now. If you want to go grab it, I just did that.
Awesome. So Cloud Attract is free for 30 days, and then you'll be grandfathered into whatever pricing plan you choose. For those of you that are not using Cloud CMA and you want to use Cloud CMA, it may be a member benefit in your MLS. If it's not, what we'll do is for anybody who signs up for the 30-day trial in Cloud Attract, we'll email you a discount code for Cloud CMA. So Cloud CMA is regularly $34.95 per month. The yearly plan is $349. The 2 years $499. We'll discount those to $29.95, $299 per year, and $399 for the 2 year.
So you'll get on your website where where on your website where they can check if their MLS offers it or not.
When they go to the checkout page, so yeah, when they go to the checkout page, you'll go to cloudcma.com. You'll click on Try Cloud CMA for free. And when you choose a plan, it's going to say, great, what MLS are you with? So for example, if I go down and I select in California, if I select CRMLS, so CRMLS, it's going to say, it's going to give me a pop-up, or it should have given me a pop-up. That's not good. It'll say, it looks like Cloud CMA is currently a member benefit, so please contact your MLS. So when you try to create your account, it should say, you know, Cloud CMA is already provided free courtesy of your MLS. Please check your MLS. If you guys want to know whether Cloud CMA is a member benefit, just email us or type Cloud CMA in a GoToWebinar chat, and I'll have myself or someone on our team follow up with you.
Okay.
But yeah, I know we're literally on the dot here. So I don't know if anybody has any quick questions for us. I'd be happy to stick around and answer a couple.
Yeah, we do actually have some that if you guys want to, anybody that will stay with us, that's great. If not,
sure.
We appreciate that. So one person had a question about the Facebook ad that you showed. So when you do that, is that free, or do you have to buy that, or do you have to boost it in order for it to work?
So I would say that you definitely have to boost it in order for it to work. You can post this for free, but it's only going to go to either people on your profile, or it's only going to go to people that have liked your page. With Facebook, in my experience, it's pay to play, but it's not going to cost me a whole lot of money to run this ad either. So I can set whatever ad budget that I want, and Facebook will tell me that, you know, we estimate that based on the budget you giving us, Ricardo, we'll show this ad to X number of people. And that's the beauty of Facebook. Facebook will tell you how many people you're going to reach based on the budget that you're allocating.
So they also want to know how much you're spending on Facebook per month as when you're working with it.
So I think that I think that number is going to vary from market to market. But I've seen agents, for example, in that agent that I put up, that was in, where was it? In Corona. So leads in Corona are about $1.72 per lead. In other markets, like I've run ads in Huntington Beach, and Huntington Beach, my cost per seller lead is about $3.84. So what that cost per lead is going to vary from market to market to market. But once you establish your baseline and you know how much your leads cost, then it's just a number of determining for yourself how much am I willing to spend and how many leads do I need to generate on a monthly basis. Ray, what does that look like for you?
Sometimes it's $150 a month. Other times it's $500 or $600 a month. Just kind of depends how aggressive I want to be.
Right.
So it's not terrible. No. It sounds like you're pretty happy with the amount of exposure you're getting for that kind of price.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another question, this is for you, Ricardo. Can you quickly summarize, maybe go back to the pricing page and summarize what components are included in Cloud Attract specifically?
Yeah, so with Cloud Attract, you'll have access to unlimited you'll be able to create an unlimited number of landing pages for both buyers and sellers. My recommendation is to create a landing page for each unique campaign that you're running. So if, for example, you want to link to your page from your website, create a unique landing page for that. If you want to create a Facebook ad, create a unique landing page for that. If you want to create a direct mail piece, create a unique landing page for that. The reason I say that is because when you go to your dashboard and you hover over all of your different landing pages, we show you stats on each of those unique landing pages. So this landing page has 7 unique views, 7 conversions, and a conversion rate of 100%. So if I'm doing a direct mail campaign and it's costing me, you know, $300–500 every month to do these postcards, I want to know what my return on investment is. And Cloud Attract will be able to tell you that by giving you these stats.
And how do you, what's considered a conversion?
Somebody that actually went to if somebody went to the landing page and didn't type any information, not their address or their name, email, and phone number, then they didn't convert. So conversion is if somebody submitted all of that info.
So you captured someone. That's a conversion. Got it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay.
Your leads, you'll also be able to export and import into whatever CRM provider you're using. So here's my leads dashboard. I click on the flyout menu and I can export it as a CSV file and then dump them into my newsletter or CRM provider. And when I click through to my lead profile, I'll be able to see the different landing pages that lead registered on. So where did they register? So this person registered via my ricardoshomevalues.com website. Here's his address, and then here's all of his social media profiles and his contact information. So Cloud Attract will capture all of that information and serve it up to you.
Gotcha. Question about the templates. Are there new templates being added regularly?
So we will add and curate more templates. There's currently 3, 6, 9, 12. So we'll continue to add templates. There's, you know, over 10 templates for both buyers and sellers. But the beauty of it is, again, we give you the ability to upload your own design. So rather than upload, you know, 100 templates in here, we recognize that a lot of you are really getting hyper-local with these landing pages. So rather than upload, you know, 1,000 page templates, we give the user control over being able to design your own, so that if you're advertising in a local HOA newsletter, then you can upload something specific to your HOA and advertise that way.
Okay, 2 questions for you. One is, do you have any sense of conversion averages for seller templates versus buyer templates? And then also, is there support to help folks set up, you know, learn how to set it up and to do design and things like that?
Yep, so when you log into your account and you click on your profile, you'll be able to go to our Learning Center. Our Learning Center has video tutorials and scheduled webinars that walk you sort of step-by-step on, you know, how to create your first landing page or boost a landing page. So if you're still having trouble with design, you can click on the support link, and you can always either contact us directly or type, you know, whatever question you have in here. We have instructions for almost everything. But if you're still having trouble, you can always contact our support team either by phone or by emailing us. And one of our support team members will get on the phone with you and walk you step by step through the areas that you're having trouble with.
Hey,
so
Ricardo,
we do definitely
let you guys know I got to take off. I didn't want to just hang up on you guys. But thank you for having
awesome.
me.
No, absolutely, Ray.
So
thank you so much as always for joining us.
No problem. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Okay.
So we definitely do have the onboarding webinars and support, either myself or our support staff that's available to kind of walk you through any areas that anyone might be still having trouble with.
Gotcha. Here's one quick question about Facebook, and then I think we're way past the top of the hour, so we can cut out. But so are you saying that a Facebook boost will probably bring new business, or more likely bring more business than a post that's not boosted?
So I think that you have to boost a post to get exposure to a bigger audience or a wider audience. And when you boost a post or when you run a Facebook ad as opposed to just sharing it on Facebook, you can target that demographic a lot more. So when you post it on Facebook, it's going to show it to everyone and anyone that is either has liked your page or that's connected with you on Facebook. But when you create the ad, you can tell Facebook, hey, only show this ad to men and women ages, you know, whatever demographic is of homeowners in your area. But you can also tell Facebook, only show this ad to homeowners in your area and only show this ad to people that are considering making a move. So you can really drill down on the demographic of who you're targeting. So that's why you need to run the ads. It's so that you can narrow down on that demographic and get specific on who you're targeting, basically reaching your target customer.
Gotcha.
And again, we cover a lot of that in this Facebook marketing best practices webinar. So do the 30-day trial, sign up for the webinar. Even if you don't keep it past the 30-day trial, that webinar is going to help you a lot. But yeah, if anyone has any questions, we're here to help.
Here's one more for you, and then I think we can call it a day. When your 30-day trial expires, what happens to your Facebook links? Do they go away or do they continue to stay out there?
So if you cancel the account, then those links are technically deleted. So what I would do is, if you're going to cancel the account, go through and just start to remove those Facebook updates that you previously published. So you can go to your timeline, click on this little drop-down arrow, and then delete that post from your timeline, because those links will expire. That thumbnail will disappear, and those links will just redirect to the Cloud Attract homepage. So you will want to do a self-audit and go through and remove those links.
Got it. Okay, I just put the offer link back into the chat box. So anybody that wants to click, just click through, and you can sign up for the offer, for the free trial offer from this. And maybe if you want to just show pricing one more time, Ricardo, and then we'll call it a day. Go down to that last slide.
Yep.
Here we go.
So 30 days free. The monthly plan is $50 off. So that'll be, you'll be grandfathered into $99.95 per month, and that's pay as you go. And then the yearly plan, if you want to get some savings, you'll save $200 on the yearly plan compared to the monthly. But that's $999 per year instead of $1,500 per year.
Gotcha. And then is there a sort of a joint package if someone wants to buy Cloud CMA and Cloud Attract, or they just buy those as separate products?
So for everybody that signs up for Cloud Attract today and does the 30-day trial, if you don't have Cloud CMA, we'll email you a promo code. So it'll be a coupon code so that you can get some savings on Cloud CMA. So we'll give you a package discount on Cloud CMA when you sign up for Cloud Attract, if you don't already have a CMA subscription.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Ricardo. This has been really interesting. You know, you're hitting on one of the absolutely most important parts of the process is leads don't become sales until you work them. So the idea of attracting people and giving them information that's that allows you to do the speed to lead that we talked about, and you know, be the first to answer and the first to support a customer, you're definitely going to have a stronger business in the future. So thank you so much. I really appreciate everybody's time today. And if you have any questions beyond this, feel free to reach out to, you can reach me if you'd like at Marilyn, MARILYN @retechnology.com, but use that special offer. That's where you're going to get all the great deals. Thank you so much. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks for joining us, guys.